Remington Podcast, where we take a deep dive into all things ammunition. I'm your host, Audrey Mays, and today I'm sitting down with Shot Shell Product Manager Ronnie Evans.
Hello.
And Head of Research and Development John Langenfeld.
How's it going, everybody?
We are sitting down today to break down, one of the best clay break-in shells that I know of, Premier STS, which, for those of you who don't know out there, actually stands for Skeet Trap and Sporting Clays, which is, exactly what it is. It's just a shell that's great for breaking all types of all types of clays and all types of disciplines.
Yep, that's right.
And we're here to tell you why. So can you break down, just like high-level breakdown an STS for me, Ronnie?
Well, it's our premier target load, so you've got premier features, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everything from brass cap to the smooth unibody hull to the hard antimony shot to the figure 8 wad. It's the best of everything we do, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's the best of our stuff, and we talk about the hard shot, but also the thing about our shot is how many times we run it across the table to make sure it's perfectly round, and we sort it to make sure it's right by size. So there's a lot of work goes into this to make this STS as good as it is, but that's why it's been a flagship of our company for a long time. Mm-hmm. I remember the gold Nitro 27 coming out around 95-ish, and it wasn't long behind that the metallic green come out, STS. So we've been making this a long time, and it's not going to stop anytime soon. So it's by far the best of the best for of all target loads, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah. You journey out to the Grand American for one, but any trap shoot, skeet shoot, sporting clay shoot, you will see this green hole out there for sure.
Or the gold.
Yeah.
They're both premium.
Mm-hmm.
STS is its own category, the skeet trap sporting, but in our minds, when we think STS, we loop in that nitro in there just because it's similar build characteristics, but that's the premium stuff.
Yeah. We're going to go step by step. So you talked a little bit about sorting the shot through these tables to make sure it's perfectly round, but we dropped the shot right here in the Remington shot tower, right?
Right in the shot tower. Yep, sure enough. We've been doing it that way for a long time.
Yeah. And John, can you walk us through how the shot tower works?
Well, it's pretty simple.
Right.
It's you're going to melt lead up at the top of the tower and pour it over a grate that's got a bunch of holes in it, and then it's going to drop 11 stories.
It sounds like it's raining when you walk out there.
Yep.
It really does.
It looks like it's raining lead pellets, right?
So once you get it down there, through the chemistry of the lead, and that's how the tower works. It turns around as it falls. Then you're going to take it back up and send it through a series of grading operations that Ronnie talked about to make sure that anything that might have stuck together in the air, 2 pellets, that gets culled out. Mm-hmm. And also anything that, might not be perfectly round, it gets culled out as well. So by the time you get down through the grading tables, you've got the best shot. Mm-hmm. That's just the way it is. And you can get in, I've numerous times, after the Grand American, you get online and you can see in forum pages like trapshooters.com, and people are scrounging through all the shells from the Grand and buying cases and cutting them down and squashing them, looking at the hardness and giving opinions on shot and everything. And the shot that we make here in the tower is just the best.
It's the best by far.
Yep.
Yeah.
So once you've got through that, then you're going to sort it. Mm-hmm. Make sure that you've got all the right sizes of everything, and get it ready to load.
And what is the rough high level composition of the shot in an STS?
That's secret.
Yeah,
we don't tell people.
Secret sauce.
Why would you ask that?
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's high antimony. Yeah,
it's high antimony.
Yeah,
it makes it harder.
Antimony and shotgun shells is something that most people use, and it changes. The harder the shot, the better your pattern typically is, because it deforms less in flight. Mm-hmm. And so as you look at our loads, like Gun Club, it's not going to have as high antimony as what we put in to the STS and the nitros, because that's your premium. So that's where you want the better patterns, and consumers expect that.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. When you pick up an STS, you expect it to perform.
Yeah, that's why you buy
quality, right?
That's right.
Mm-hmm. And stepping down from the shot inside of the shell, can you tell me a little bit about the wad, Ronnie?
Well, the wad is the Remington exclusive figure 8 wad, and we actually have 2 versions of that. Mm-hmm. It's the figure 8 that holds 1 ounce and 1/8, and we also have what we call a TGT, which is the 1 ounce version of the figure 8. Mm-hmm. It still has the snowman look center section in it on both of them, but one of them's a little longer than the other just because the extra room you have to take up in the shell for the lighter load. But By doing that, you get a real soft feel. It's not quite so snappy. Now, when you get up into some of our nitro sporting clay loads, it's running 1350. You're going to feel some snappy there. But
you can't defy physics.
You can't defy physics. But I would venture to say our 1145 in 7.5 and 8s, an ounce and an eighth is some of the softest shooting loads. It is number one in the trap shooters, and skeet shooters love them.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they really like. So, and a lot of that has to do with the feel and the consistency of those wads with that really good shot. And that's what those guys like.
Yeah. I mean, anytime you're going to pick up a shotgun and put it to your shoulder 100 times, you want it to be a little cushioned.
Well, most times, to a regular weekend shoot, they'll shoot 300 targets. Mm-hmm. You'll have 100 singles, 100 handicap, and 150 pair of doubles to shoot 300. So that's a lot of shooting that day, and you don't want to get beat up. You'd rather not be beat up, right?
Yeah.
So generally these guys shoot the guys that shoot a lot, they're going to shoot those 1145s in singles and doubles, but generally jump over to the Nitro 27 because they're probably a little further back than some. That's 1235 ounce and 8, 7.5s or 8s. Mm-hmm. But those are known all over as one of the best handicap shells you can buy as well. So if you'll notice that the color change of the shell, one's gold and one's green. Well, when you get past 1,200 feet per second, you go to gold.
The shells turn gold magically.
1,200 and under is your metallic green. Mm-hmm. That's kind of where we've always cut that right there. So you get into nitro handicap velocities when you get over 1,200 feet per second. So that's why we change those colors like that, too.
Yeah. And that's why a lot of people who shoot sporting choose Nitro 27s.
Yeah, for sheer velocity and the speed. I mean, the thing about the nitro sporting clays and even the STSs, we offer them as sub gauges as well, right? So in the STS line, you've got your guys shooting skeet, and there's 28s, 410s, and 20s in there,
right?
And 8.5s and 9s, and those, and then over into the nitro sporting clays, you've got 410s, 28s, and 20s there, and they're all around 1,300 feet per second, so they're a little faster. In the 7/8 on the 20 gauge, 3/4 on the 28, and a half ounce on the 410. At 1,300 feet per second to shoot some of those out a little further, right? So, but they work good in that respect as well.
Yeah, and if you working our way back down the shot shell, if you want to talk about holes, Premier STS has one of the most reloadable holes on the market.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I've loaded tons of them. Mm-hmm. I know back before I ever worked for Remington, I used to go to the Grand every year because they do the rebates back then.
Yep.
And I would get my new. I'd buy my 5 cases of shells, get my $20 rebate per case, get my $100, and that was the shells that I loaded on for the whole next year. Mm-hmm. And then they'd get ratty and things like that after numerous reloads, and then I'd buy my next cases at the Grand every year.
Yeah, have new stuff every year.
So and I think that I don't think I'm biased because I work here, but I mean that shell is hands down best reloadable shell that there is.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I mean,
runs through loaders good. It's got great life. It crimps good. It's easy to get a good consistent crimp out of it. It forms back in place every time. And, I know you didn't go into the brass cap yet on that, but, we talked just briefly, before we started this about the reloadability of the shell. And if you're running something like a PW, a spoler, or something that has a die that's going to resize that shell that's coming over the top, it makes it running through that press so much easier. I don't know that they actually recommend using them with steel. I know I ran a few steel ones through a PW of my own just to see what it felt like and had a whole lot more force required. So, I just reserve steel case capped shells like for a mech or something that has a collet resizer that, it's blind to the force required to resize steel or brass.
Mm-hmm. And the other thing of that too is with it being brass like that, it's not going to, it comes in and out of the gun easier, right? Sometimes steel can be a little bit of a pain to get out. Sometimes if you get a dirty chamber,
they get finicky.
They get a little finicky depending on some of the guns. But with us running solid brass cap, you don't have that issue.
Mm-hmm. How long have you guys been shooting STS?
Since it come out.
And so every time you go to a sporting clays competition, that's where you're taking an STS.
Yes. Yeah. If I'm in a competition, I'm shooting the 1291 ounce, what I shoot in the nitro sporting clay.
Mm-hmm. John, how about you?
I think I started competitive clay shooting around late 90s. Mm-hmm. Yep. And I shoot Remington. I wouldn't necessarily say that I shoot STS, but I dabble with some nitros. I don't know. I like to test
Yeah.
And so, sometimes I'll shoot maybe a 1 ounce 1290, or I'll shoot an 1145 STS, or maybe sometimes I'll shoot gun club.
Yeah.
And just see, there's a lot of guys that they get their confidence in a particular type of load. Like Logan, on our team is one of those guys that, world champion, won the doubles championship last year, shoots STS and nitros, hands down. That's all he shoots.
That's all he shoots.
And, if I tried to stick a different shell in his gun, it's not going to, right. It's not going to break the target. And so, and I used to be, I'm still an ATA trap shooter, but that was what I did all the time.
Yep.
We didn't have sporting where I grew up. And so you get used to the type of loads. And Ronnie talked about earlier, if you're shooting singles or doubles, it's usually the 1145-8. And if it's handicap, you're moving up in velocity, 3 dram, 1235. We do have that 1 ounce in there that's nice, 1185. Yep. It's a sweet load. You can shoot like first shot of doubles, shoot singles. So anyways, you kind of see what the consumer, the trap shooter, likes and what they use. And a few years ago when we built the sporting clays course here at Remington, started to get into that sport and learn the consumers and what they shoot. And, in my opinion, it's almost opposite.
Yeah.
Because a 1 ounce shell, except for the 1290, and you don't see a lot of that in trap. It's usually the ounce and an eighth.
Yeah, sounds like
1 ounce stuff in general in trap is considered a light load. Close range, it's a first shot of doubles, it's a singles type load. But in sporting clays, they're usually faster.
Yeah.
But 1 ounce, there's no
That's the norm.
There's no confidence lack in shooting targets of any size or distance with a 1 ounce load. So I think it's very interesting, what the consumers like, the velocity differences between them. And so, like I said, I can't lock in and just say, oh, this is the one load. I've shot a bunch of 1 ounce. I've shot 7/8 ounce stuff.
Yeah.
I shoot Remington.
I have got to where I'll take a box of 1145s because we'll go to these shoots sometimes and there'll be targets like really super close. Well, there's no sense of shooting 1,290 feet per second when it's there. So I'll slip a few green ones in there and kind of, you don't need the 1290 with that close. So I've got to try to do that a little more.
Oh,
too.
yeah.
I do that from time to time.
Yeah, I shoot anything that is Remington and that on the box says low recoil.
Oh, recoil.
No, I love, I got no issues with that at all.
We have a couple of loads in that. It's 1,100 feet per second, ounce and an eighth. We got them in 7.5 and H2 in the STS lineup also.
One thing that's kind of nice about having 2 shell colors that I know that consumers like is, if you're shooting sporting or doubles, you always know that color.
Oh, yeah.
When you're pulling out of your
when
shell
you're pulling them out, if you're going to, some guys will shoot a nitro second shot doubles, and then they're shooting a green shell, something of, pick whatever mixture you want as their first shot, or could be in sporting, in your vest or hip pockets or whatever, you pull those gold shells out, okay, this is my long range load. And
Yeah, people use it, I feel like in sporting too, if they miss their first target and it's far off, they'll switch.
Oh, yeah. You got a second shot. That's yeah. So, you'll see a lot of guys doing that. You'll see some guys even have some 1,350 feet per second ones for the really long ones, further ones out. So you'll see that variety of things. And that's the other thing about the STS lineup, is especially in the green, metallic green line, is if you can't find a load there, I don't know what to tell you, because we've got it covered.
Yeah, it's a long list.
It's a lot of different things. It's all the popular stuff. Our nitro, and then our nitro 27, which is mainly your trap shooters, and you have a lot of sporting clay guys you shoot those too. But you've got 2 1235s, and they're both 1 7.5, 1 8 ounce and eighth. Then we have the 1291 ounce in it as well. But then you get over to our nitro sporting clay line, and that's the one that's growing because there is so many different thought processes around it. So we've introduced, the last 2 years, we've introduced a 1291 ounce there. And we've got a 1325 7/8 coming now. And probably looking at, that's moving. But it because it's a 7/8 load, it don't have a lot of buck.
Right.
It doesn't have a lot of recoil. I mean, it's
kicks,
softer, but it still kicks. But it's not like a 1325. It's got an ounce and eighth in it either.
It's not loaded down with shot.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's fast. But we're always looking at what we need to do there next. So there's a few things in the works, what other speeds and load sizes we may add there as well. But the sporting clay world is a little different than what your trap shooters are.
Yeah, just to dip into nitro sporting clays. We design those specifically with sporting clays in mind.
Exactly.
What those shooters like for a payload and velocity and shot size. Yeah.
Definitely.
Even though sometimes they still just reach for Nitro 27s. I know Madison Sharp, that's what she shoots.
Yeah, her and Brandon Powell shoots a Nitro 27.
Yeah.
That's the 1235 ounce and eighth. So Madison's got over the 1291 ounce. Is what she's shooting. So we have that in the Nitro 27 and our Nitro Sporting Clays. So it's in both of those lines.
Yeah. So for someone who maybe isn't a beginner but like is stepping into the competitive world, would you recommend that they reach for an STS?
Of course.
Yeah.
All the above.
All of the above. Just shoot Remington. That's
Yeah,
what
there you go. You
John's.
can't-
That's what John's putting out there right now.
Right.
We make the best, so just shoot the best.
Yep.
Yep. And look for
proud of
us
it.
out there, gold and green, right?
Yeah, we've got some of the best shooters in the world shooting our stuff right now, and that's good, right?
Yep.
So you can see them regularly on all these shoots, and they're winning regularly, and that tells me if they're shooting our stuff, they have a lot of confidence in it as well. So, for a while there, availability was an issue for us.
Sure.
Let me just tell you, if you're looking for STS and your store don't have it, tell your store to order it. They will get it. It's available. We have it made. It needs to ship. So it's ready to go. So just tell them to holler and at their local sales rep and get them some STS. It's there.
Yep. And a lot of people do reach out via customer service or this podcast or anything, and they say, why can't I find shells? And I always respond and say, have you asked the store owner?
Go to the store owner.
Yeah.
Say, hey, can you get this? Can you get this? So
Well,
that's how that happens.
We've also got the D2C.
We do.
Yep.
Yeah.
If there's specific SKUs that are hard to get, or well, I shouldn't say hard to get. If your local dealers don't carry, maybe they carry 1145/8, but you're wanting the 1 ounce 1185, and they don't want to order that for you or whatever.
Go to Remington.com.
You can get on the D2C
Yep.
and order direct from us.
And anything over $149 ships free.
And that's
Correct.
awesome for flats and shotgun
Yes,
shells.
it is.
Yeah.
That works out perfect, right?
Yeah.
So
It's not hard to spend that on ammo.
no, it's not.
yeah.
You can do it pretty quick.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, one thing a lot of people don't know too is that there's a Remington Gun Club right out here
Right.
south of the plant. We
Right
sell
here south of
cells
the
out of
plant.
there, for those local folks that listen to the podcast that don't know, there's trap skeet, sporting clays,
5-stand.
five stand.
stand.
You can, it doesn't cost nothing to rent a gun. We got guns here. You can buy shells, test them out. So
Sure can.
it's a great resource to have that is probably not as well known or utilized.
Sure.
as, yeah.
Yeah.
Just
And it's
come
open
Wednesday.
to the public.
Yeah, it's open to the public Wednesday through Sunday. So
Yeah, you don't have to be a member.
don't have to be a member. So it's a good place to come and shoot, and you can get some ammo there or whatever you need to do as well.
Yeah. And from a distance, you can look at our shot tower and say, that's where my lead comes
That's
from.
where my lead was formed. That's right.
Yeah.
My shot was formed there, right?
Yeah, that's
Sure
cool
can.
stuff. It's been a lot of weekends. It's about to be clay shooting season, guys. Come on out. Feels good outside.
Yeah,
so.
it's getting there. It's getting better all the time.
Yeah. Well, there you have it, guys. Remington is on the rise. Like, comment, subscribe, and be sure to share this podcast with your hunting or shooting buddies. If you have any questions for me or the guys here, you can email us at remington@podcast.com. Thanks for listening.